that feeling when you feel so stuck financially and you feel that money just goes in your account, out your account. It all feels like a big struggle. And you wonder sometimes, has there got to be an easier or simpler way to be living my life than what I'm living right now? Hands up, who has thought that? Um, so, in this episode today, I want to talk about feeling abundant and money mindset. Um, so important when it comes to living your everyday life, selling your art, all the things, making money from your creativity, but just day to day, because we all need money. It's an essential part of our life. It's there. We have to have it. So I'm going to talk about that in today's episode because I've been working a lot recently on my money mindset and I want to share what's been working for me in case it helps you. So recently I was feeling stuck, been sat at the same salary for a very, very long time. Felt that money comes in, it goes out. It's quite stressful because now I've got a whole team and I have to keep on top of those things in terms of money coming in and going out and making sure there's enough to pay everybody. And then that can change the dynamics of how you feel then about everything that you do in your daily life. Because all of a sudden I was thinking, God, this is not why I set up United Art Space, to feel this way every month, to be so anxious about finances, which is where it was heading. And so what I've done for a few months now is work on abundance, worked on the feelings of abundance and noticing abundance in all different forms, not just money, but actually really breaking down the existence of money and how money is a made up form of energy that we all now are so familiar with, but it didn't exist. The whole world that we live in didn't exist. It didn't exist. Money didn't exist. Let's not go there about whether the world existed. So money didn't exist, and it's been brought into this world that we live in as a currency, as a means of exchanging goods and services so that we can make sense of things. I've got this, you've got that, let's swap this. And there became money. It's evolved over the time from exchanging cattle and things that we had to this currency. Anyway, so when we break it down to that, and I've been thinking a lot about that recently, how it is this kind of made up thing that we've created in this world, and how now our life revolves around it in a way, because it does, without us even realizing it. If we're not even consciously thinking about money on a daily basis, it's there, isn't it? It's in there, it's in the world, it's the economy, it's everywhere, and it's what drives a lot of people too. So it's there. And so with that becomes a lot of money stories and conversation about money and how bad it is and all the things, and we can be exposed to how difficult it is to get and how it comes and it goes, and so that's what I've been exploring, because what I realized a few years ago, I set a financial goal for myself for the business. And I thought, when I hit that financial goal, which was 50,000 in 1 year, that was my goal for years. I want to hit £50,000 in 1 year. And I was so determined to hit that goal because that was such a lot of money to me. And I remember thinking that, when I hit that goal, that's it. That's my life sorted. I'll be able to relax more. It will sort out my finances. It will sort out my life. I'll be happy. And everything was being pinned on that goal. And I had so much fun over the years not hitting it, learning about myself, questioning why I wasn't hitting it, working on my money mindset, then asking myself, what do I need to do to hit it? Fine-tuning what I do, learning a ton along the way, crying along the way, feeling stressed along the way. The interesting thing was then when I hit the goal, which was an ecstatic moment, and I'll never forget hitting that goal and waiting for the feeling of my life to have changed, and nothing changed. Because what happened was the money came in and it went out, and it was a case then of hitting that number. And and I was very fortunate, I could pay my debts off. I could finally start paying myself a salary out of that, not all of it, because then what I created was a business and I needed a team and I needed things, all of my own doing. All of this was my own creation. Sharing that because what I'm saying now doesn't have to be the same for you, because we are the creators of our own experiences. So this is what I created and how it was for me. So I'm not saying that if you get to 50,000 that it'll go in and go out, it's just what happened to me. But what I've learned, and being around other people too, who are aiming to hit financial goals, is they hit them and the same things happened. And I've heard it from people who've hit 1 million, that they think it's going to be the answer, and it absolutely isn't. It just isn't. And yes, of course, in some ways it makes life easier, and debts can be paid off, or things can be up leveled, and the house can be bought, and there's things that can be changed. And that's why there is a lot of fun in making money, and it can have an impact on our lives in the most incredible, profound way. But then also, that's that you upgrade, you pay the debts off, and then you need to earn more money. And those things are short-lived, and then there you are, you're living this new upgraded life, but then you maintain that. And so things are never fixed, everything's changing. So one of the things that I've learned so far, lesson number one, is money is not going to add to my happiness. It's not going to actually be the answer to all my prayers. And it's something that comes and goes, and that's that. It's an energy, it comes and goes. And actually, it's interesting because there's so many views, isn't there, on you should have savings, you should invest in property, you should do. And again, as I always say, it's completely up to you in this life. And so that's something I'm embracing now about my own finances, is doing it in my own way, on my own terms, and going back to the money mindset around this. So plateauing for a certain number of years at a certain amount. And this year I've been thinking, I want to push to the next level. And how would it look if I like double, triple the money that's brought in right now? And what does that feel like when I say that out loud? What comes up for me? And when I've started to explore that side, I started to then feel guilt, shame for wanting more, because I have a really nice life the way it is right now. Why would I do that? And so when I looked at why I would do that, because we could give back to charity, because then we could buy offices so that we've got an actual headquarters that we can work from, so that we can impact more lives. So, there's all these reasons. And when I started to look at it, that gave me the drive then to think this, okay, let's try for a bigger goal. Let's try for more money. And then what came was, well, how do we do that? What are the next steps? And what are the limiting beliefs I have around that? And I did have a lot of limiting beliefs that are keeping me stuck. And that's why I haven't been moving forward. So I've been really working on that side of, actually, rather than just thinking that it's totally unrealistic and this is a stupid goal, it's actually thinking this is actually possible and let's just go for it. What do we have to do? Let's break it down. And I realized a lot about myself. If I wanted to get to that level, who do I need to be as a person? And thinking of United Art Space as a bigger company that has offices, that has premises, that has a team, and I'm thinking about the roles that people would have within that, and it. I'm now starting to change who I am and my thinking around that. And one of the things that I've really worked on for the last 8 months is the belief that that is actually possible. Because every time I'm doubting it, and every time I'm talking myself out of that being possible and creating all the different pictures of why it couldn't happen and it all going wrong, I'm not. Instead, I'm only creating pictures in my head and a future of this actually happening, and we're going to have our own premises. And that's all I'm thinking of. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. But that's all I'm allowing in my brain. And I'm having to really work hard every day to blow those thoughts away that want to challenge this whole view that I have of taking United Art Space to the next level. Now, one of the other things that I've been doing throughout this process too is noticing my thoughts and my language too. And one of the things that's been really fascinating to me recently is one, thinking things are expensive. So going back to that whole thing of this money thing, we made it all up. Money's made up. Now we live in this world where we see through our own lens what's expensive and what's affordable. And it's interesting. I've seen a few conversations recently. There was one group that I was in where there were some artists talking about the price of a entrance fee to a fair in London. And someone said, I've got an opportunity to be exhibiting in this place. It's £1,200. That is just so expensive to me. I'm really scared to take the move. Now, someone else came in and said, and a lot of people were going, yeah, that's really expensive. That's really expensive. And then someone else came in and said, that's cheap to me. I spend 10,000 on my entrance fee to be in a place in London. Now we could go down a whole other conversation about whether that decision was right for that artist. We're not going there, but we're just looking at it in terms of money. How that view of a few was that was really, really expensive, and then a view of someone else that comes in and says, well, that's really cheap. Like I pay 10. And that's what's interesting about this. And I've seen it more and more recently where I signed up to a app called Zoe not long ago. And the investment was £200 to have gut health analysed, blood sugars analysed. There was a lot of diagnoses and tests that have to be sent off and things like that. So that's why there's a £200 charge for that up front. Now, I thought, given my situation and how unwell I was at that point with food and everything was confusing, to me that was like a great thing to spend my money on. And it didn't feel expensive to me. It just felt like, I know I need to do this. But it was interesting how so many other people had said, oh, I've seen Zoe, but yeah, it's just way too expensive. It's way too expensive. And again, we're not here to decide whether it's expensive or not. The message in all of this is that whatever situation we're in, everyone's going to have a different view of what's expensive and what isn't. And it's really made me think about the areas that I'm holding myself back in because I think something's too expensive. Now, yes, there might be things like I want to take my children to a school in Bali and it's £20,000. That right now I don't have the money for. And this is where I'm changing my mindset. Might seem a bit pedantic, but it's really helping me. Instead of saying that is expensive, I'm not saying that now, and I'm eliminating those words from my mouth. I'm not saying anymore for the time being. That's expensive, because I'm realizing what a block that is for me. So instead of seeing things as expensive or affordable, I'm now looking at things just objectively. Like, it's a price. It's simply a price that person has put onto that object. And that's it. It's a price. And I'm going to decide in that moment, do I want to pay that price? And it's not whether it's expensive or not. Do I want that? And then the next question. So if it's yes or no, if it's no, then that's fine. Do I want it? No. If I want it, do I have the money for that? Do I have 20,000 in my bank account right now? No. And rather than disregard that as, oh, right, well, it's too expensive, is to then question, well, let's just put it out there and see. Let's not disregard it. I'm going to kind of just be open to that happening anyway. Why not me? Let's just plant the seed And I'm talking about as if I'm going and I'm speaking to people about it. And so it's been a massive empowering mindset shift for me. This whole, I'm not looking at things of whether they're expensive. I'm just looking, that's someone's price and that's it. And it just feels so great. And then I can be empowered. And then likewise, if I don't want it, it's not because it was expensive. It's because I've chosen that I don't want it. And so there's a massive difference, because while we keep telling ourselves that's expensive, that's expensive, that's expensive, that's expensive, I can't afford that, I can't afford that, we are fueling this feeling of scarcity and lack, and we don't have enough money and we're terrible and it's like crap. And so a simple shift, just in the way that I'm not using that now and I'm deciding and I'm just seeing things as a number and that's it. And I'm challenging myself every time. I nearly said it the other day. I was like, that's expensive. I was like, oh, no, it's just a number. That's the number they've chosen. Now let's make the decision. So that's been empowering for me. And the other thing is that I've also been conscious of noticing when I'm really coming down on myself in terms of my finances. So noticing the times when I'm feeling lack, okay, or oh, I shouldn't spend that. I shouldn't spend that because of this. And feeling guilty, you know, if I've spent something and then the guilt of, oh gosh, I shouldn't have got that. I'm noticing those feelings too. And I'm not saying that we should just spend frivolously and not care, but I'm being aware of those feelings because I don't want to feel them. I haven't got time for guilt, and I haven't got time for shaming myself. If I decided to buy something and I bought it, that was a decision I made, and I'm going to move on. And in all of this has taught me there's a big thing about making money that is about our belief of money being available to us. So a few months ago, I came from a massive place of scarcity and, oh, don't think I should do that because there's not enough. And that was how I was feeling about it. I'm in exactly the same situation as I was a few months ago financially, but I feel very differently now about abundance and money. And instead now of always focusing on that lack and that feeling of scarcity, I'm actually really opening myself up to, I know that whatever decisions I make now, and I make sound decisions about what I purchase and the goals that I'm making for the future, I know that it's coming. Everything is coming, and there's so much possibility. And this whole thing of scarcity, let's let it go. There can be abundance in all forms. And sometimes we want something, and it might not be a monetary transaction that we make. We might be gifted with something. So let's not block the fields. Let's loosen this up. Let's open the pathways. So that has been a game changer for me, not only in how confident I feel now and how assured I feel more empowered, and things have already started to shift for me in terms of money too. And that's really just come from thinking differently, not from any action yet that I've taken. But now I have a clear action. So I've got that money goal that I spoke of, the higher money goal. And now with this sense of more freedom and clarity, I can actually now see how I could get there. And I couldn't see it before because I was coming from a place of being scared and fear and scarcity, like I shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. Or now, so it's that comes first. Clear those pathways, clear the blocks as much as you can. Open up your mind, because then that's when you'll start to figure out how to earn the money. So now I have a clear pathway and I can really figure out how to do this. And I couldn't see it before. It was a ridiculous goal, didn't believe it could happen, stuck in limitations. And now I feel free and I have a pathway and I can see how I could hit it. And I feel so certain that I am going to hit it. It's crazy. I feel like I've been replaced by a different person because it wasn't like this 6 months ago. It was the opposite. So sharing that with you in case there's any golden nuggets that you can take from that. And yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm still exploring it, and I'm still working on it every day. There's also a part of me that's really scared that I'm going to just lose all of this mental power that I have right now. So I'm working every day to maintain this mindset by reading affirmations, by visualizing, by taking time to notice my thoughts, and to really consciously blow thoughts away that are not going to help me and are going to maybe take me into a maze of negativity and toxicity. Oh, thank you for listening. See you next week. Bye.